The vast emptiness of space stretched like an endless black canvas, broken only by the faint shimmer of distant station lights. Jay Park stood motionless, his eyes fixed on the holographic display that flickered with the ghosts of lost worlds. 3,000 years had passed since humanity's near extinction, a memory that burned deeper than any physical wound. The research station hummed quietly, a testament to human survival. Hundreds of survivors lived here, descendants of those who had escaped Earth's final moments. Their home was now a massive space complex, hidden deep within an uncharted sector of the galaxy, protected by layers of stealth technology that made them invisible to potential threats. Yuna Kim approached Jay, her footsteps silent against the metal floor. She carried a data tablet, its screen filled with complex calculations and strategic diagrams. "The quantum mapping is complete," she said, her voice calm but charged with underlying tension. Around them, technicians and researchers moved with purpose. Each person knew their role in the grand plan of survival and eventual revenge. The walls were lined with preserved artifacts from Earth, fragments of history that reminded everyone of what had been lost and what needed to be avenged. The destruction of Earth wasn't just a historical event. It was a wound that had never healed. The Kronar hegemony had systematically destroyed the planet, reducing it to cosmic dust in a matter of hours. Billions of lives ended in a single brutal assault that no one had seen coming. Jay's fingers traced a holographic image of the old Earth, now nothing more than a memory. His grandfather had been among the last survivors who escaped, carrying with him the stories of a blue planet full of life, diversity, and hope. Those stories had been passed down through generations, keeping the flame of remembrance alive. "We have been preparing for generations," Jay muttered, more to himself than to Yuna. The Terran Remembrance Council, a secretive organization dedicated to humanity's survival and eventual revenge, had been working in complete silence. Every technological advancement, every strategic plan, every resource had been carefully collected and developed with one ultimate goal: to strike back. The station's advanced AI systems continuously monitored potential threats. Quantum communication networks developed in absolute secrecy connected small human colonies scattered across different star systems. These weren't just survival outposts. They were potential launching points for a massive, coordinated revenge. Yuna placed her hand on a holographic interface, bringing up complex weapon designs, quantum entanglement technology, stealth systems that could render entire fleets invisible, advanced AI warfare algorithms. Humanity had been preparing its arsenal in complete silence. "The Kronar won't see us coming," she said, a rare hint of emotion breaking through her typically composed demeanor. Each person in the station carried a similar sentiment, a mix of calculated revenge and deep, unresolved grief. Young technicians trained in specialized warfare techniques, learning from historical records and advanced simulation programs. They knew their entire existence was about one singular purpose: to reclaim what was lost and ensure no civilization would suffer the same fate as Earth. The station's central chamber was a testament to human resilience. Star maps, technological blueprints, and historical records covered every available surface. Each piece of information was a weapon, each memory a motivation. Jay looked at Yuna, their eyes meeting in a moment of shared understanding. They represented generations of survivors, of those who had refused to be completely erased. The Kronar might have destroyed their planet, but they had failed to destroy the human spirit. As the station continued its silent drift through space, preparation reached its final stages. Humanity was no longer just surviving. They were planning to strike back, to become more than just forgotten survivors. The revenge would be precise, calculated, and absolutely devastating. The trading station orbited a massive gas giant, its metallic surface gleaming under artificial lights. Kai Johnson moved silently through the crowded corridors, appearing like just another trader among hundreds of alien species. No one would suspect he was a human operative, carefully gathering intelligence for the ultimate mission of revenge. His communication implant, hidden deep within his neural network, constantly processed and transmitted data back to the secret human base. Every conversation, every transaction, every tiny piece of information was a potential weapon. The Kronar hegemony's communication networks were vast, but not impenetrable. Nearby, a group of alien traders discussed shipping routes and potential trade restrictions. Kai's enhanced hearing picked up every word, translating and analyzing in real time. His eyes, modified with advanced augmentation technology, could see communication frequencies invisible to most species. The station was a perfect hunting ground for information. Traders from thousands of different worlds brought not just goods, but secrets. Kai had spent years building a complex network of informants, each believing they were working for their own interests, unaware they were actually helping humanity's grand plan. A vortex merchant approached, carrying a large container of rare mineral compounds. Kai subtly activated a microscopic scanning device, analyzing the container's composition and tracking its potential route. Every piece of information was another thread in the complex web of human intelligence gathering. In another part of the station, Elena Rodriguez worked her own magic. Her specialty was infiltrating digital networks, leaving no trace of her presence. Advanced AI algorithms she had developed could breach even the most secure communication channels. The Kronar's technological superiority was about to meet its match. Yuk Lee, the intelligence operations director, had trained dozens of operatives like Kai. Each one was a ghost, able to blend into any environment, gather critical information, and disappear without a trace. Their mission wasn't just about collecting data, it was about finding the precise weaknesses that would allow humanity to strike back. The trading station was a microcosm of galactic society, chaotic, diverse, and full of hidden opportunities. Kai watched a group of Nexus traders arguing about fuel prices, their complex hand gestures revealing more than their words. He recorded everything, knowing that even the smallest detail could be crucial. His neural implant vibrated softly, a signal from the base. They wanted more information about recent Kronar military movements. Kai adjusted his communication frequency, preparing to extract the necessary data. A small drone buzzed past, its sensors scanning the area. Most would see it as a routine security measure. Kai saw it differently, an opportunity to inject a microscopic, tracking algorithm into its system. Within seconds, the drone became another tool in humanity's intelligence network. The life of an operative was lonely, but purposeful. Kai had no real connections, no true home beyond the mission. Every interaction was calculated, every relationship a potential source of information. The memory of Earth's destruction drove him, a constant reminder of why he did what he did. As the station's artificial day cycle began to dim, Kai prepared to make his move. A Kronar communications specialist was arriving, carrying what appeared to be routine data packets. But Kai knew better. These packets could contain critical military communications that might reveal vulnerabilities in the hegemony's defense systems. His augmented vision highlighted potential approach routes, calculating the lowest risk method of information extraction. Years of training had turned him into a perfect intelligence gatherer, invisible, efficient, and absolutely dedicated to the mission. The station continued its slow orbit, unaware of the silent war being waged within its corridors. Humanity's revenge was being prepared, one tiny piece of information at a time. The Kronar had destroyed their planet, but they had not broken their spirit. Kai smiled slightly, a rare moment of human emotion in his carefully controlled existence. The infiltration was working perfectly. Soon, very soon, they would be ready to strike back. The research laboratory hummed with quiet intensity. Yuna Kim stood before a massive holographic display, her fingers dancing across quantum computation arrays. Years of secret development had led to this moment, the quantum entanglement weapon system that would change everything. Surrounding her, advanced machinery pulsed with an almost living energy. Each component represented a breakthrough that would make traditional warfare look like ancient history. The weapon wasn't just a tool of destruction, it was humanity's ultimate answer to the Kronar hegemony's previous assault. Elena Rodriguez checked the final calibrations, her eyes reflecting complex mathematical equations. The weapon could destroy targets across impossible distances, bypassing traditional defense systems with surgical precision. No shield, no distance could protect the enemy now. First test sequence initiating, Yuna announced, her voice calm but electric with anticipation. The entire research team held their collective breath. Years of work, generations of planning came down to these few moments. The holographic display showed 3 separate Kronar military installations, each located in different star systems hundreds of light-years apart. What made this weapon unique was its ability to strike simultaneously, without any detectable preparation or launch signature. A soft beep indicated system readiness. Elena input the final authorization code, her hands steady. The quantum entanglement weapon didn't just destroy, it would completely erase targeted installations from existence, leaving no trace of their original presence. Outside the research station, space remained silent and dark. Inside, humanity prepared to make its first definitive statement after thousands of years of hidden preparation. The weapon worked by creating quantum-linked destruction points. Traditional understanding of space, time, and distance meant nothing against this technology. It was like having the ability to punch through reality itself, striking targets that believed themselves completely safe. Yuna's display showed the first target, a massive Kronar communication hub located near the Andromeda sector. Billions of credits of infrastructure, centuries of technological development would vanish in a single moment. Targeting systems locked, Elena confirmed. Her voice carried a hint of something between professional calm and deep personal satisfaction. This wasn't just a technological achievement. It was revenge. The quantum entanglement weapon didn't create a traditional explosion. Instead, it caused a complete molecular disintegration, leaving nothing but empty space where complex structures once existed. No debris, no radiation signature, nothing to indicate what had happened. 3 separate screens showed 3 different military installations. One by one, they simply disappeared. No flash, no sound, just absolute erasure. Confirmation of total destruction, Yuna's computer system reported. The team around her remained silent, understanding the magnitude of what they had just accomplished. This wasn't just a weapon, it was a message. Humanity was back, and they were no longer victims. The Kronar hegemony had destroyed Earth thinking. They had eliminated a potential threat. They had no idea that their actions had only created the most determined species in the galaxy. Every human operative, every researcher, every survivor carried the memory of that destruction. Elena looked at Yuna. No words were needed. They both understood what this moment meant. The first step in a calculated revenge that would reshape galactic power structures. The quantum entanglement weapon represented more than technological superiority. It was proof that humanity could adapt, could survive, could fight back against impossible odds. Generations of preparation, of hidden development, of careful planning had led to this moment. Outside the research station, space remained unchanged. But everything had just shifted. The Kronar would soon understand that destroying a planet doesn't mean destroying a species. Humanity was about to make that abundantly clear. As system checks continued and data was analyzed, one thing became perfectly evident. This was just the beginning. The first strike had been delivered, precise and devastating. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer hiding. They were coming. The first wave of human attacks came like a silent storm. J. Park watched from the command center as multiple Kronar military installations simply vanished across different star systems. No warning. No preparation could have stopped the quantum entanglement weapon. Massive fleets of Kronar battleships suddenly found themselves without communication, without support, without any understanding of what was happening. Humanity's strategy was brutal in its simplicity. Complete systemic destruction. Advanced AI systems controlled human strike teams, moving with a precision that seemed almost supernatural. Each attack was calculated, each target chosen with surgical accuracy. The Kronar had no time to respond, no way to predict the next move. Kai Johnson led the first ground invasion team. They dropped onto a Kronar Central Command planet without a sound, their stealth technology making them invisible until the moment of attack. Traditional military doctrine meant nothing against this new form of warfare. The human operatives weren't just soldiers. They were specialists, trained in psychological warfare, technological disruption, and complete system breakdown. Every move was designed to create maximum confusion and minimum resistance. Alien species that had suffered under Kronar oppression began to take notice. Small resistance groups, long suppressed, started to see hope in these unexpected human attacks. What was happening wasn't just a war, it was a complete restructuring of galactic power. Una Kim's quantum weapon systems continued to prove their effectiveness. Entire Kronar communication networks collapsed within hours. Military bases disappeared like they had never existed. The hegemony's technological superiority crumbled against human innovation. On the command station, J. Park moved strategic markers across galactic maps. Each movement represented not just a military action but a carefully planned message. Humanity was showing the galaxy that they were no longer victims. The psychological impact was as significant as the physical destruction. The Kronar had believed humans to be an extinct species, a forgotten footnote in galactic history. Now they were facing a threat more terrifying than they could have imagined. Elena Rodriguez's AI systems worked overtime, predicting and countering Kronar defensive strategies faster than their computers could process. It was like watching a master chess player destroy an opponent who didn't even realize they were playing. Entire Kronar planetary systems went dark. Communication channels collapsed. Military leadership found themselves cut off, isolated, unable to coordinate any meaningful resistance. Humanity's revenge was methodical, precise, and absolutely devastating. The human strike teams moved like ghosts. One moment nothing was there. The next entire Kronar military installations were simply gone. No debris, no survivors, no evidence, just empty space where complex structures had once existed. Allied species that had long suffered under Kronar rule began to provide critical intelligence. Years of oppression had created a network of potential allies, waiting for the right moment to strike back. Humanity had become that moment. J. Park understood this was more than just a war of revenge. This was about creating a new galactic order. The Kronar hegemony had ruled through fear and technological superiority. Humanity was showing there was a different way. The quantum entanglement weapon continued to prove its effectiveness. Military analysts would later describe this as the most technologically advanced assault in known galactic history. No defense could be mounted. No resistance could be organized. As weeks turned into months, the Kronar hegemony began to collapse. Their once mighty empire crumbled under the precise, calculated attacks of human forces. What had started as a mission of revenge was becoming a complete systemic destruction. Kai Johnson's ground teams discovered something unexpected: hope. The species they encountered looked at humans not as conquerors, but as liberators. The Kronar's decades of oppression had created a powder keg, and humanity's attack was the spark. The command center continued to pulse with activity. Each successful strike was another step towards complete victory. Humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting to reshape the entire galactic landscape. In the vast darkness of space, a message was being written. The species that was once thought destroyed was now becoming the most significant force in the known universe. The Kronar had made a fatal mistake. They had underestimated human determination. The final battle was surprisingly quiet. J. Park stood on the command deck, watching as the last Kronar leadership positions collapsed. What had begun as a mission of revenge had transformed into something much larger, a chance to rebuild galactic society. Across hundreds of star systems, human forces worked not just to destroy, but to reconstruct. The war wasn't about total annihilation. It was about creating a new future where no species would suffer the same fate as Earth. Una Kim developed the first interstellar reconstruction protocols. Advanced AI systems began mapping out new communication networks, helping liberated species connect and rebuild. The quantum technology that had been a weapon now became a tool of healing. The memorial to Earth stood as a silent reminder of why they had fought. A massive holographic projection showing the planet as it once was. Blue, beautiful, full of life. Millions of species now understood the true cost of the Kronar's previous destruction. Kai Johnson's reconnaissance teams discovered something unexpected. Kronar archives revealed detailed records of Earth's final moments, a historical documentation that would help humanity understand its own lost history. Not everything had been destroyed. Elena Rodriguez worked on creating the first Galactic Confederation. It wasn't about human domination, but about creating a system where no single species could commit the kind of genocide the Kronar had once practiced. Each liberated world would have a voice. The human colonies that had survived for thousands of years now emerged from hiding. They were no longer scattered remnants, but a unified force that had achieved the impossible. Revenge had transformed into something much more profound: hope. Diplomatic missions began spreading across star systems. Human representatives carried not weapons, but reconstruction plans. They showed other species how to build defensive systems, how to protect themselves, how to recover from long-term oppression. Yuk Lee, who had once managed intelligence operations, now led diplomatic efforts. The same skills that had helped them infiltrate Kronar systems now helped build bridges between different species. Intelligence was no longer about war, but about understanding. The quantum entanglement technology that had been a weapon of destruction became a communication tool. Instant connection across impossible distances meant that no species would ever feel isolated again. Humanity's greatest weapon became its greatest gift. Researchers discovered fragments of Earth's history in unexpected places. Ancient data cores, preserved by alien collectors, contained pieces of human culture, music, art, and scientific knowledge. What was lost was slowly being reconstructed. The first Galactic Conference was held on a neutral space station. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered, with humans playing a key role in creating new diplomatic frameworks. The Kronar's era of oppression was officially over. J. Park watched as the first joint reconstruction efforts began. Planets that had been stripped of resources were now receiving help. Species that had been isolated were now connected. The human revenge had become something much larger, a galactic renewal. Museums began displaying Earth's history. Children of different species learned about the planet that had been destroyed, about the species that had survived and fought back. Humanity was no longer just a story of survival, but a symbol of hope. The quantum weapon systems were slowly dismantled. They had served their purpose. Now, they would be transformed into communication and exploration technologies. The tools of war became tools of discovery. Yuna Kim worked on the first interstellar education programs. Knowledge that had been suppressed under Kronar rule could now be freely shared. Schools were established connecting different species and their unique cultural knowledge. As years passed, the story of humanity's revenge became a legend. Not a story of destruction, but a story of resilience, of hope, of the ability to transform pain into something positive. The Kronar had destroyed a planet, but they could not destroy the human spirit. The memorial to Earth continued to stand, a reminder of what was lost and what had been rebuilt. Millions of species would look at it and understand the true meaning. Of survival, of hope, of healing. Humanity had come home. Not to a single planet, but to a galaxy they had helped heal. The revenge was complete. The redemption had begun.